Hey everybody, welcome to the product info video about the Ostara box, spring equinox boxes. So I'm just going to dive right in with the large box and start talking to you about the products within, why I chose them, and how it connects to this time of year, how it can help your self-care. I'm going to start with a piece of the box that I felt sort of is the heart of this box. So we're just going to dive right in with the gemstone yoni egg. So this is an amethyst yoni egg, and I couldn't resist due to the symbology of the spring equinox relating to fertility and as the story goes, the goddess Ostara came late, I guess, to the party of spring. I'm not sure. She was just running late, as shamamas always do. And when she got there, there was a dying bird. And it was like frozen in the cold. And so she was like, oh crap, I better get this spring moving here, you know? And so she turns the bird into a rabbit and makes it her lover, obviously. But the rabbit still has magical powers, and it lays eggs, because it was once a bird, every year. So the symbology of mythology is always really like, I don't know, they must have been eating mushrooms pretty far out there. But what I take away and the parts of, you know, these wonderful symbols of fertility, we've got the earth experiencing this rebirth that it does every year. Persephone is a great story, another mythological rebirth. She goes down into the underworld at around the autumn equinox, and then she is allowed back up at the spring equinox. And she is like, you know, known also, she is like a goddess of vegetation. So it's like the idea that the whole earth kind of goes dormant for a period and then comes back to life. So it's really important to me that these boxes, the takeaway that I want you to have is that you're getting connected to, you know, the year wheel. And these boxes come out on the quarter days. So it's the equinoxes and the solstices. So it's, you know, slicing the year into 4 quadrants. And, you know, half that year is dark, half that year is light. We're dealing a lot with the sun and earth's relationship. And, you know, Imbolc, you know, whispered to us, it's okay, the light's coming, it's coming. And you can start to see it. For me, I really noticed just the days are longer, and that changes so much about how we experience life. We're not sort of like hunkering down anymore. We're considering our coming out. And so Ostara ends up being, you know, this maiden goddess, if you will. She's like, you know, the debutante. She's coming out for the first time. So this egg, obviously irresistible to me due to all the symbology. But the other piece of this is we are talking about fertility in spring. We're talking about a renewed sense of maybe sexuality. We're talking about a time of year where we're going to start taking off our clothes, being more social. We're going to find ourselves with that kind of spring has sprung energy, which often translates into, you know, being a little more frisky. So this egg, I will say as a shamama, the challenging thing for me about using a yoni egg is just like any other of my exercising routines. It takes, you know, you have to set aside some time and you have to actually do it. So that's the hardest thing. But once you're doing it, you start to build these muscles, and it comes with a little cheat sheet, so it'll tell you how to use it. And, you know, working on your pelvic floor. I didn't really understand what a pelvic floor was until I'd had my baby. And then I really realized, like, oh, there's this thing happening, this feeling that I'm having that I'd never experienced before. And it's truly, it's hard to explain. There's like this kind of dropping out feeling, or this, like a limited access to a strength that you had prior to having your baby. And so using the yoni egg regularly will help with your pelvic floor. And the most exciting part is it's really going to help with your orgasm. So as we know, the female anatomy and the sexual anatomy, we have one whole component to our reproductive system that is purely designed for pleasure. Connecting to that piece and getting like the most bang for your buck, if you will, you know, the way that your muscles relate to it, communicate with it, can really impact the quality, quantity, longevity of your orgasms. So working those muscles and continuing to, you know, strengthen them and focus on them is great. And also, I just think it's always a good thing to give us more reason to play with ourselves, to touch ourselves. We are healing from a misogynist, patriarchal community with a dominant religion that sort of completely denies the divine feminine. So we're healing all of that, you know, one orgasm at a time. And it's just incredibly impactful to love your body, trust your body, love your yoni, touch it often, feel like it's beautiful, feel beautiful. So I thought, who doesn't want a little amethyst up in their yoni? So there you go, and there is your Ostara egg, beautiful royal purple. The amethyst can be a very sobering stone. It's very royal, regal. And so that is your yoni stone. That's the highest ticket item in the box. So those go for a chunk of change out in the world. The next thing, let's see. As you are loving your body. So I also had this theme in my mind about lushness. Like spring is about this new lush growth. So I focused a lot on body products that made me feel really, really lush. And so I found this gorgeous, this is Cattail Apothecary. It's called Garden Solace. And this is a ritual bath potion. And I love making baths rituals. Sometimes it's one of the few opportunities that you might have a minute alone, if you can actually get your child to let you have a bath alone. And once in a while I can. Let's see if I can show you. I don't want to tip it over, but it's this beautiful combination. It's a really lovely floral, but not too like rose-ish, because sometimes that stuff just makes me sneeze. So it's got a really nice light floral combination of these. I mean, when you drench yourself in it, it feels moisturizing and calming. So, you know, enjoy this with some intention. Take a hot bath, sit into the bath, make it a ritual, make an intention for your bath. Even if the intention is just relaxing, make that the intention. So, you know, as you're getting ready to, you know, show yourself to the world anew, because, you know, spring is all about rebirth. And, you know, for some animals, it's a time of birthing, or it's a time of getting pregnant. But the symbology around Ostara has a lot to do with rebirth. So it's kind of like the earth goes through these cycles, and so do we. So I really want to underscore this is like trying to set up your self-care in a way that relates or mimics or is in balance with or parallel to how is the earth going through her self-care? How is she going through changes? And I think that if we take the time to allow ourselves the same rhythms of the earth, we end up being healthier, happier, more in tune, and more in balance. She's got a good thing going here. She's, miraculously figured out this whole way to sustain her immense life force energy that she gives out. And as moms, we're in the same boat. Like, we're giving, giving, giving. Mother Earth constantly gives. She takes away too. It's not to say that there's not that Kali intense energy. That is also a part of it, but there's a lot of giving. So trying to figure out a way to be sustainable is great. So a hot bath can do wonders and truly can become is magical. So cleanliness is next to godliness. A lot of that is the healing aspect of warm, cold water. Even playing with those two back and forth is great. Getting the dead skin off of you is great. You do feel renewed. And then just taking that time for yourself is amazing. So next up, let's see, after the bath. Now, hopefully those of you who had the winter solstice box, you guys are scrubbing, doing the body scrub every time you take a hot bath, at least a few times a week. The dry body scrub is a great way to really, energize your skin, exfoliate, and bring blood to the surface. Your skin is an organ, so it's we don't always care for it that way, but it is a very, very vital part of our complete system. So after your warm bath, here is this extremely lush, this is a full bottle of the Elixir Cream. And the consistency of this cream is so just dreamy and lush. This was a part of the box that I also, clung to early on, that I knew I had to have in the box because it just makes you feel kind of decadent. It's creamy, it's rich, it's super moisturizing. There's a ton of it in here. This will last you for a while. But it definitely feels like it's not the kind of moisturizer that just goes on and then you forget about it. Like, you feel the depths of it. And so enjoy that one. It doesn't have a really strong scent, but the skin feel on this is fantastic. And the strong scents, I really appreciate that. I'm very sensitive to scent, so I appreciate something that doesn't have a super strong scent. So after your bath, please enjoy that. Rub that all over your body. I use it on my face. It's just like, it's all natural. Nothing in there can harm you. So just enjoy using like a fully natural moisturizing product. And then once you've dried off a bit, you can put on your Iris Inspirational Intentional Temporary Body Tattoo. So Soulflower, this company is amazing. The woman behind it, I just love her relationship to flowers. She is all about promoting, the healing power of flowers, connecting to their healing energy, the plant spirits. And, I'm learning so much more as I feature some of these products. Just the magical relationship that you can have with a plant, with a flower. Listening in, allowing yourself to be with different plants and feeling if they call to you. It's a level of subtleness that doesn't get talked a lot in our Western culture. We usually, you know, kind of want these overt, really obvious, really in your face, you know, this thing's happening to you. Whereas sometimes there is an intuitive sense, and you've got to give yourself a lot of quiet time to hear it. And I think the magic of flowers has a lot to do with, you know, spending enough time in nature where you just start to hear the spirit of either the forest or the plants. And so I love, 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 love these, because here you are, especially if you live in a place where there's snow or a lot of rain, just a bunch of cold weather. That feeling when everybody simultaneously starts taking off clothing and the weather gets warmer and people start spending more time outdoors, at cafes, at outside bars. There is a magicness to this time of year, and I felt it in many different cities at many different times. And it's frisky. It's, you know, the springtime idea of sort of, you know, there's an underlining sexual quality to this time of year. And so, you know, throwing on some beautiful, intentional flower tattoos to feel beautiful, to put out an intention and to look beautiful. I thought that was a really fun way to celebrate Ostara, spring equinox, and your body. So enjoy those. There's, I believe, 3 temporary tattoos per pack, and instructions on how to use them and everything. Then we've got, so when you're either still getting dressed, or you're all dressed and you want to add a little something on top, or you're doing ritual, or anytime you need a pick-me-up, a headache, this Aries Celeste oil by Earth Habit is, let's see if you can see it, is so yummy. And it's in this beautiful ombre bottle. And the scents here, it has some mints in it, which wouldn't have seemed like something that I would want this time of year, but it also has this balance of vanilla. It's really remarkable. It's a lovely scent, and it's earthy while also kind of hinting to the winter. So it's not like, it's not a completely summer vibe yet. It's a very like perfectly spring scent, and it's made with essential oils. Oh God, it's just dreamy. So I hope you enjoy that and keep it on you often. It's a fun one. So, you know, maybe rub this all over yourself before you play with your yoni egg, or before you meet with a lover, or before you head out to the cafe wearing next to nothing, almost barely nothing but your temporary tattoo. Oh, but before you leave, don't forget to get those lips covered with this yummy all-natural Jaden Madison. This is Scandalous. And I feel like because of the plastic wrap on top of this, it's going to be hard to show you the color. But it's a very Cabernet type of color. It's sheer. It looks beautiful on top of other lipstick. I actually have some on over some other lipstick. It is very sexy. And so again, this box has that flirtatious, fertility goddessy, maiden goddess vibe to it. Sexy is in here. I want you guys to feel super sexy this spring. And not for the world, but for yourself. And just enjoying that energy of feeling beautiful is really what it boils down to, and feeling fully self-expressed. One of the things about having a vibrant, rich, wonderful sex life is that you have experienced rapture and you're experiencing it often. So anything that can support your experience of rapture and total bliss and absolute pleasure, I'm all for. And I really do believe that the world is better for it. So keep it coming, ladies. I also added some incense sticks. Doesn't look like much, but it's a really lovely scent. It's called Gaia, and it's very earthy. It's very, and it actually smells much different to smell it than when you burn it. So at first, I was like, this smells kind of like a, you know, when you walk into like a crystal shop or something, one of the new age shops, which I completely enjoy. But again, I'm sensitive to scents, so it can be an overwhelming smell to just smell incense. But once this thing is burning, oh my gosh, it's a very balanced scent, and it's very earthy with just a hint of these kind of like blossomy type vibe smells. And I think it's lovely. So I hope you enjoy that also. I always try to at least send something to burn because witches love to burn things. It's so important to my ritual practices. And I really try to make everything I do, especially at the home, I try to make things sacred. So if I'm feeling a little groggy in the morning, sometimes burning some incense first thing as I'm like making my coffee or my tea, that shifts the energy in the air. It makes me feel that pleasure again. It's all about pleasure. And I think we can get very bogged down as mothers about this laundry list of things we have to do that's never ending, that never feels like super fulfilling because it doesn't end. It's just this constant, you do the dishes, they're done for a minute, and then you have to do them all over again. You do the laundry, it's done for a second, and then you have to do it all over again. And that's a real challenge with the mother journey, is that there's not this great feeling of accomplishment. So while I'm doing those mundane household activities, I try to lighten it up and make it more sacred by, you know, using scents and using little potions. And incense has really worked for me to make, you know, just an everyday morning feel special and feel like today is a gift, and reminding myself of that. And then that helps me go into a higher state of consciousness. That might allow me to work on my meditation practice. It might allow me to just be present to the divinity. And once you're present, you start to shift consciousness. So that's huge. Now, of course, I had to add something witchy to the box. And so I found this original tarot deck. Again, the shininess of this. Here, let me get my deck out. Let's see if this is less shiny. Yeah. So this original design tarot deck that was designed by Pamela Coleman Smith under the instruction of Arthur Edward Waite. Her nickname was Pixie. She was an entrepreneur and an artist, and she got connected to the Golden Dawn folks and was commissioned to do this tarot deck. So this is the tarot deck that is, you know, pretty much the most kind of the most well-known. So I thought, well, let's start with something that is really classic. And hearing her story just tickled me. I just love that, you know, trying to picture this woman's life was really fun. And so the images are really vivid. They hold a lot of, it's bright colors, and she was a graphic artist, obviously, an illustrator. And so her images are really kind of pop artish in a way. They're very strong, they're very bright, and they really do inspire, you know, your intuition can really get going on these. And that's not always true for all decks, and I did really like that about this deck. And the reason I wanted to put this deck in there is as we turn the year wheel, we've come out of Imbolc, where, you know, this is like the new year vibe where we're just starting to kind of, you know, what is it that I want to manifest? And it's kind of, it hasn't been finalized exactly what it is, but you're having some ideas about, you know, what you're going to produce this year. And at the spring equinox, I feel like now we're ready to start debuting this part of ourselves that's been hibernating since the fall equinox. So we let it go dormant, we go inside, we do our shadow work, and little by little we start to open it up just a little bit more, and we kind of start to blossom out, and we start to be more open to our social lives. Part of that, as practicing shamamas, is being more comfortable with our intuition, leaning on it more, claiming it more. So I thought, what better way than to start practicing your intuitive abilities, and the tarot is a really great way to do that. So I highly suggest, and I will put that in the information that comes along with this on the website, I highly suggest getting the app. It's called Golden Thread Tarot. I use that to help me understand what the cards mean, and you can use it for any deck, and it just gives you a great guideline. I also like to do, well, first and foremost, before you use your deck, any number of multiple, or at least one, but that's very ritualistic. It's, you know, either burying your deck for a day or a few days. Hard to do in a rainy area, but I'll wrap mine in plastic and bury it in the earth. Saging it thoroughly, like one page sage it, the next page sage it, like really give it a thorough sage bath. You can place it in a bowl of salt. You can have it sit under a full moon, and just really give it intention that it's going to be your deck now and it's going to work for you. And so one way to do that, and I just offered this as my March ritual for the monthly rituals that I'm now offering. Basically, you go into a ritual where you call onto your higher self. I created a spread that has you looking at different pieces of the balance, like the light, the dark, the masculine, feminine, the different pieces of our personality. And the cards, you really ask the cards to speak to you, you know, through your higher power. And so then you write all that down, and then what you do is you look at all that come the autumn equinox. And so that can be a really helpful way when we are starting the light part of the year, and we're going to be out and we're going to be producing more. We're going to be showcasing, networking. We're just going to be out there more. It's a great thing to check in with yourself about sort of what maybe you're not seeing, what you're missing, get some feedback on where you're at, and then play with it. Just build that intuition, because the strength of your intuition is a huge part of your strength in general, just trusting yourself. So that completes the large box. And in the small box, which I'm really pretty excited about the new box, the new boxes that I got. Now, I would love to get your feedback on these. They look beautiful. They're a little easier for me to pack. I don't need as much taping, and that really takes down a lot of my times. They're more efficient. They're gorgeous inside. There's a whole write-up about what it is to be a shamama. But these ones are not post-consumer waste, so I'm not thrilled about that. But I would like to know, I still have another few rounds of my big boxes that are post-consumer waste. So I would love to get your guys' feedback. What's more important to you? Do you want it to look really slick and be recyclable, or can it look more earthy and be, you know, a post-consumer waste product? I will probably keep looking and keep altering, but I can't deny I love the printed image. They're real pricey, so then that affects what I can put in them. So I'm working it out still. But I'm just really happy right now with how beautiful they are. So the half box has the tarot deck in it. It has the tattoos. It has the lip gloss. And it also has the ritual bath potions. So there's a lot of good stuff in the half box also. And I think that wraps it up for my little demo here. I really hope you guys have a wonderful spring equinox. I hope you're all feeling energized. I hope that this winter you did better at listening to yourself. I know it's an ongoing process, and for myself, I did great in some places and I did not so great in others. So next year will be another time to try again and try to hibernate more, do less stuff socially. But I'm eager to hear how your guys' springs are going. What projects are you working on? What are you offering the world? How is your dating life? How is your sex life? How are your children? Are you engaging them with these different sabbats? Is that fun for you? Is it stressful? I would just love to hear where you guys are at with that. And there's a Facebook page that is all about self-care, Shamama Rising Self-Care. And I will make sure to put that also on the website for you guys so you can access that easily. And all of the information on each product is on the website. So just always remember that that's where you go to get the information. And that is all for now. Have a wonderful time until I see you again summer solstice. Okay? Love you guys. Cheers.